Hello friends, I'm Eric Harrison. Last night, I witnessed something that touched me so profoundly that I wanted to record this video right now today to share with you some incredible transforming takeaways that I had from an event that I believe will have a profound impact on you. I've got 3 great lessons I want to share today, so let's get started. So last night, I watched the Field of Dreams baseball game between the Chicago White Sox and New York Yankees. Now hold on, before you jump off to your next video, let me just hang in there with me a few minutes, if you will. If you're not familiar with the Field of Dreams movie, it was filmed in Dyersville, Iowa in 1989, so over 30 years ago. And then last night, they built a stadium on the property where they shot the movie, connected to the house and the field where the whole movie was filmed. And they played the game. There was about 8,000 fans in the stands, and they estimated that on average of 5 million people watched that game last night. For a Thursday night in the middle of the summer, that's a huge audience. Whether you're a baseball fan or not, go watch the Field of Dreams movie if you haven't, because it may not make you a baseball fan, but it will touch your heart. That I promise you. And even though when I saw the movie, I was a baseball fan, it taught me a lot about life, and it conjured up memories of childhood that I believe we all need today. So here's just a few of the things that I pulled from the game last night that originated in the movie 30 years ago that I believe we all need a little bit more of today. The first thing is simplicity. Here they are, literally, they built this stadium. They're in the middle of a cornfield in the middle of Iowa, a long way from anywhere. And it was just magical to see the people that were walking around in this remote area. It's a very simple stadium. There's stands on each side of the baselines, but primarily the whole field is surrounded by corn. And it just gave you a feel of Americana, a feel of simpler times where things were easier, not so complicated, not so complex, not so hurry and rush to get something. There wasn't the electronic scoreboards. In fact, one of the beautiful things and the most simplistic things about it is they built a wooden scoreboard, and they had guys dressed up like they were from the 1920s climbing a ladder to hang the score each time a team scored a run or hit a home run. It was really beautiful to see. And there was people walking between the stadium or the field that they built and the field and the house where the movie was shot. People were just attracted to this place because it just is a piece of history, and it brings back memories of when times were simpler. And I think in a world right now that is very complicated, very divided, and very stressed out, I think last night we all got to just kind of exhale and enjoy the beauty of watching that movie. I think the other thing that came through just loud and clear for me was childlike wonder. To just look at these Major League Baseball players who are getting paid millions of dollars, and they were all like little kids. Giddy to be in this place, to play in front of crowds that they probably haven't played in front of, that were as small as crowds they played in front of certainly in college and probably high school. And they're out there just having fun and laughing, doing interviews on TV during the game. Kevin Costner was at the game and did really a heartfelt interview with the Fox Sports crew during the game. It really brought back to me memories of my childhood and how magical the game of baseball was to me. Now, I grew up in the 60s and 70s. I knew all the baseball players, and they were like gods to me. And so that brought all of that back for me last night. And, you know, there's a speech in the movie that James Earl Jones does. It's one of the most uplifting speeches. If you can Google it and watch just the speech, but because the line from the movie, if somehow you've never heard it, is, "If you build it, they will come." And James Earl Jones says during this speech that, yes, people will certainly come, Ray, because money they have, but it's peace they lack. Wow. Yeah, it's peace we lack. So let's get back some of that childlike wonder. And finally, the lesson that I wanted to share is just, to rekindle some of the old memories from our past, when it just seemed like things were simpler, easier, not as divisive, more friendly. There was just more of a camaraderie and a brotherhood. And yeah, there was Yankee fans at the game last night, and there was mostly White Sox fans, but everybody was there. They had a good time. They were there until the final pitch, which was hit out for a home run to end the game. But the other thing that was beautiful is you just saw people wandering around this property, looking at the house, and then the field where the movie was shot. There was fathers with their sons throwing the baseball to each other, just like their fathers had done with them so many years ago. And it made me reflect back, to when my father and I threw the baseball together, and then when my sons and I threw the baseball together. And it was just such a captivating moment, and just a piece out of history to just stop and to pause and to think, wow, life is really great. And there's a lot of things that we have to celebrate. So none of this really solves any of the problems that we're all dealing with. There's still a pandemic. We still have a very divided culture. But I think if we all take time to think about simplicity, to experience more of a childlike wonder, and to reflect back on all the old memories that we have, we can celebrate, and it will send us into our problems as better people and more willing to work together to solve the problems. The other thing that James Earl Jones says in this speech, he's talking about the game of baseball, but he says this, he says, "It reminds us of all that once was good and can be again." And boy, do we all need to hear that now. So I wonder which one of these, simplicity, childlike wonder, old memories. If you've seen the movie, if you watched the game last night, I'd love to know what you thought of the game. I'd love to know the emotions you felt. The few friends I've talked to so far that have seen the movie, I fell in love with the game of baseball last night, and I fell in love with life last night. I hope you'll do that. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. If you can somehow see some replays of the game, go get them. But most of all, take away these lessons and go out and make it a good day for somebody else, which will make it a great day for you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon in another video.